Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Here to talk all about the news that has seemingly taken the gaming world by storm over the last week, and that is the Steam Machine. And maybe I might be coming across a little bit more negative on it. Look, I'm super excited for the Steam Machine. I think it has potential to be a great device from Valve. I think a lot of people are really going to, enjoy it, and I think a lot of people are going to find it money well spent. Which there's still a lot of mystery surrounding a lot of the aspects of the Steam Machine, a lot of important aspects. First of all, the price point of the device and the release date. We know the release is going to be early 2026. They're saying 6x the power of the Steam Deck, which it is more so a console-oriented machine. However, where I would push back versus a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of takes like this on social media, is the notion that this is going to kill the console market, that this is going to, and at this point, what is the console market? I mean, Xbox is kind of on their way out. It's really just PlayStation. If we're talking about the Steam Machine killing PlayStation, I don't think that is going to happen for a wide variety of reasons. I do think, and I sometimes fall into this as well, is that we live a little bit too much in the bubble of social media. I think it's really important to assess social media. I think social media can be an incredibly valuable tool, but I do think that there is this area you get to in social media where you do hear a lot of the vocal minority talking, and you do not get more of that casual input. There are a lot of casual users of PlayStation consoles, which that is really, when you look at what sells on PlayStation, a lot of what makes money on PlayStation is that casual consumer base, and I don't think the Steam Machine is going to eat up all of that. Mind you, I don't even know how well the Steam Machine is going to do from a sales standpoint, because the direct comparison you can make is the Steam Deck. However, the Steam Deck is really a complementary device to a lot of people that already have gaming PCs. The Steam Machine, on the other hand, is it really a complementary device? A handheld like the Steam Deck, okay, that's a complementary device. The Steam Machine, on the other hand, that's a home console sort of experience where I don't believe that really acts as a complementary device. Really, for a lot of people, I think that ends up being their main gaming device. So you would think that you're going after that console audience. However, how many of those console players are going to go over and buy a Steam Machine? It'll probably be an okay amount, but this idea that it's going to sell more than the next PlayStation or more than the PlayStation 5, I don't think that's Valve's intention with this machine, and I don't think that should be the expectation with this machine. I think it'll do fairly well relative to Valve's expectations, but it's just like when a lot of people were talking about when the Nintendo Switch 2 got revealed. And when the Nintendo Switch 2 got revealed, there was all this talk, oh, the Steam Deck is so much better, for the price point, the deck can do so much more, you can do emulation, you can do this, that, oh my god, and then look at how much the Nintendo Switch 2 sold. And if you want to talk about just objectively which is the better platform, we can have that argument all day long, but in terms of the Steam Machine actually killing the console market, because there are a lot of benefits to it. Oh, you can load up Windows on it, you can have emulation, you can play all of the existing games that are available on Steam, you do have this interesting controller, you do have all of these elements that, yes, a nerd like me is going to appreciate. But if you want to talk about it objectively and you want to talk about how much it's going to eat at the PlayStation user base, I'm sorry, like, a large portion of that audience is not going to care. I talk a lot about it's so lame that PlayStation 5 doesn't have PS3 backwards compatibility. It's nonsensical to me, but at the end of the day, how big of a deal is that to a lot of people? It's somewhat of a big deal, but it's not this make or break kind of big deal. Same thing with emulation. I think it's a really cool element to it, but at the same time, people talking about, oh, you can load up Windows, you could do this, that, or the other. How many of the people that are on PlayStation 5, that they play NBA 2K, that they play Call of Duty, maybe they'll grab a God of War, maybe they'll grab a couple of big games a year. How many of those people are going to install an emulator? How many of those people are going to emulate their games? I just don't think it's that many. I think people are really, really overstating that. I think it'll do fairly well, but again, look at how many units the Steam Deck has sold at this point, and I don't see the Steam Machine being this gigantic difference maker in the console space. I absolutely hope it is, in the sense that we are entering a time period where PlayStation might just be running around unchecked, because Xbox at this point, they're talking about a premium hybrid PC console for their next console. And what is that going to be? Is that going to be north of $1,000? That's not going to be something I'm going to be super into. That's not going to be something a lot of people are super into. And at that point, where does that leave the PlayStation 6? Can they just run around doing whatever the hell they want? And that leaves us at an awful, awful place. We all know this. A console market where PlayStation does not have any contenders, where there is no competition, is terrible. That is probably the worst case scenario if you are into gaming on a console. However, I also think this idea of the extreme that the Steam Machine is going to come out and then the PlayStation's just going to go to the wayside, I think that's just insanity. The best case scenario for everybody, for the consumer, would be the Steam Machine comes out. It is a roaring success, a giant success, and hey, it actually checks PlayStation. It puts PlayStation a little bit against the wall, because that's when they're gonna do their best work. Oh, now they're put in a position of, hey, maybe we don't put our games on PC, because Valve, who knows what's going on with Half-Life 3 as well, how they're going to release that. Is it going to be a Steam exclusive? I could very well see that being the case as a marquee title. Well, then PlayStation's going to be left in a position of, do we really release our games on PC? Even at a delay, that's going to be something to consider, but ultimately, you would hope that would put PlayStation in a position of, okay, we gotta be even more consumer friendly. Maybe we cut the cost of PlayStation Plus. Maybe we do something different as far as our online play, because that's gonna be one of the biggest factors of the Steam Machine, is that, guess what? That online play is free. That is going to be a huge beneficial element for somebody looking at the console market and being like, yo, that Steam Machine, no pay-to-play online, that is a huge factor as far as that's concerned. But I just think a lot of people are pushing the cart before the horse way too much. There's factors we still have to know as far as what's the price point. I don't think this thing is going to be $400. I do not think that at all. I think it might be $600 for the 512 gigabyte option and maybe $749 for the 2 terabyte option. Like, I think that's not an out of this world price range to expect, but that's not that crazy of a price range, especially with PlayStation 5 going up in price, and the fact that, again, this would have free online. And I think that element of, oh, you just carry over your existing Steam library, and the fact that PC gaming has this perception of, oh, you can get cheaper games on this platform. However, I think for a console to have the marquee success that it's looking for, you gotta get like that NBA 2K audience. You gotta get that Madden audience, and I don't know if the Steam Machine, it's gonna be viable for them to get that audience. What I do find incredibly exciting about the Steam Machine is the fact the inherent issue with PC gaming has always been when you have a million different configurations with games, it just leads to a lot of these poor optimization issues with a lot of games. The Steam Machine, on the other hand, it is going to be one set of specs. I think ultimately that'll make games run on it very well. It'll go in line with the Steam Deck, where games are going to be Steam Machine verified, which I think is ideal. I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks to PC gaming right now, is you do have this wide variety of specs and options, and you can build this high-end PC, but ultimately when so many of the PC versions of games, the Mafia, the Old Countries, the Wushang Fallen Feathers, the, etc., so many games, Monster Hunter Wilds, I can go on and on. There's been Marvel Spider-Man 2. There have been so many games that have come out this year that, okay, you spent $1,500, $2,000 on your PC, but the PC version is a pile of garbage, and it's running worse than the PlayStation 5 version, or it's crashing so much, and you could be like, oh, dude, you could tweak the settings, you could find the fixes, they patched it ultimately. Like, all right, dude, that's something a lot of people don't want to deal with. And if the Steam Machine, it's gonna be one set of specifications, it's gonna have that going for it, so I do think that's a good factor as well, where you'll be able to take advantage of some of the PC-centric features, such as if you do want to install Windows on it, if you do want to get emulators running on it, you can do all that at the same time. You do have one set of specifications where the games are going to be a little bit more optimized, the new games that are coming out. Ultimately, it will also be interesting to see how this machine performs on games. All right, it's 6x powerful than the deck. The deck is a machine that plays games at 800p, you guys. 800p, and the marquee titles, you're talking talking 30 frames per second. You could get 4K 60 FPS theoretically on the Steam machine if you're utilizing FSR and whatnot, but really we need to see the thing in action as well. I just think there's so many unanswered questions right now, and I really would not push the cart before the horse in terms of expectations on how this thing is going to do. Ultimately, if they do want this thing to be a gigantic success and be a real contender, I also feel like you gotta get it in stores. It can't just be a thing like the deck, where the deck you buy it through Steam, and again, that's gonna make it more of an enthusiast platform, and okay, sure, you're gonna bridge in some more of the lesser enthusiasts, but it's not gonna be the casual-oriented device as well, and maybe it's not intended to be the casual-oriented device, and that's fine, but if you're trying to be a real competitor to PlayStation, I do think you need to understand that there's that big audience, the NBA crowd, the Madden crowd, the Fortnite crowd, and yes, NBA and Madden are available on PC, but let's be honest, like in terms of player base, in terms of optimization, like, remember that a lot of those sports games were on the last-gen versions on PC as well, while they're on the next-gen versions on consoles. Stuff like that is insane to me, so there's still a lot of questions. And, dude, I don't give a crap about NBA, nor do I give a crap about Madden, but if you want to talk about how competitive this thing's going to be in the console landscape, you cannot forget about those games, because those games are gargantuan in terms of how much revenue they offer and how big of a drawing card they are to the PlayStation 5 and why so many people do buy them. Like, yes, I personally don't care about them, but they're still a big deal, and in fact, they're some of the biggest games. It's also going to be interesting if PlayStation's going to continue to release their games on Steam, or is it going to be more of a wait-and-see approach and try to retain that value proposition, or the perceived value proposition that the PlayStation would have, that I do feel like, at least from an optics standpoint, has been diluted a little bit with a lot of their games coming to PC. I think that's been one of the interesting stories of the last couple of years, in the sense of their games are coming to PC, and you see so much of that social media rhetoric about PlayStation 5 not having any games. Would that be a little bit different if those games were not available on PC? I don't know, and again, that's social media talk. That could be more of the crowd in a bubble, and I do think it's really important to differentiate what's in a bubble and what is being said more prominently. But again, sometimes it is a little bit difficult to differentiate that. I just think there's so many unanswered questions that I'm not ready to say, oh my god, it's going to be a huge contender in the console space. But I don't personally believe that Valve has the intention for it to be that huge contender in the console space. I think for what it is, it can be a great device for a lot of people, and for the people that already have a PC, that already have a vast Steam library, and you want to have a console-oriented experience to go in line with that, and you don't want to start rebuying games on PlayStation 5, I think it offers a great experience as well, that for those people, it could end up being a complementary device. You still have your gaming PC as your primary driver, but then you have the Steam machine as a complementary device. But when you're talking about that aspect, that's for people with a lot of disposable income as well. If you're talking about, you have a high-end PC, you already have a library built up, and now you're getting a Steam machine as well as a living room machine. I mean, that's a lot of money that you're spending, and a lot of those people probably have the deck already on top of that. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm sure this is going to be one of the prominent stories of 2026, and you know, like, social media can be such a crap show when you talk about PC versus console or console versus console. At the end of the day, we need PlayStation to have competition. One of the most worrying aspects to me right now is Xbox going to the wayside and them not being a direct competitor to PlayStation. I think that leaves PlayStation in such a awful position in terms of the PlayStation fan base, because they're absolutely going to take advantage of you. That's what any business really does, outside of, honestly, Valve. Valve is the market leader in the PC space, and they haven't taken advantage of their audience. Could you imagine if Valve implemented, like, oh, dude, you want to take advantage of our deals and you want to use our platform? That'll be $5 a month. Like, they haven't done that when you could argue they potentially could. They potentially could, but that's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Really interested to hear what you guys think. I think there's so much nuance and so much discussion this topic can have, but there's still so much uncertainty that, you know, it'll be a wait and see kind of thing for me, but definitely one of the exciting stories to follow heading into 2026. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.